Hello, everybody. Welcome to the session for the regional learning event on how we children can be engaged in follow-ups and reporting on global and AU human rights mechanism. I'll be one of your, I'm not sure if I can say hosts. I can say maybe side host. My name is Miriam Piri. I'm the child rights advocate from Zambia, and it's great having you all here. Right now, I'll hand it over to Brooke, who's going to ride us through the agenda.
Hi everyone, my name is Marie Larsen. I work with Save the Children as an advisor globally. We wanted to welcome you to this event and just also remind you here with the slide that we have interpretation for today's event. So you will find the interpretation button at the bottom of your Zoom screen. As you see, there's a small icon here, and you can choose your preferred language of what you would like to listen to. And then if we move to the agenda, just what we're going to talk about today. So we will first of all have, you just heard Miriam present. Miriam will say some additional words afterwards on welcoming you to this event. And then we will have Delphine speaking a bit about child safeguarding because we have children attending today's event. And then we will hear some child-friendly guidance from Maria Julia from Child Rights Connect. And then finally, we will go into the major part of the event, which is really hearing from children from various countries about their experiences on follow-up with children. We will also have some polls, so we will ask you questions at children and also questions and answers where you can ask questions to the children that are presenting. And also, yeah, you can make some comments as well in the chat box. We would encourage you to use what is called the Q&A box. So at the bottom of your Zoom screen, you can see that there's a Q&A box there. And I will be facilitating the sessions with children along with Antoine and also Jaime. So we have children speaking in different languages. We have some speaking in English, one in French, and one in Portuguese. You can see children are from Afan from Senegal, Ali from Uganda, Brianna from Mozambique, Yasin from Tanzania, and Faith from Malawi. And then we hope to hear from you as also participating children as well. Finally, we'll have Marguerite from Cote d'Ivoire, who will close us off before we end today's session. So I will hand it over now. We would like to engage you a little bit, and I'll hand it over to Nicoletta.
Hello everyone, my name is Nicoletta and I'm working with UPR Info, but now we would like to learn a bit more about you to have a more interactive session. That's why we are going to use an online tool called Mentimeter. You can see on your slide the first page. Now, to participate and answer a few questions, you can either click on the link that you will see on the chat box, or you can take your phone and scan the QR code that you see on the screen. In case that these two ways to participate don't work, you can always type www.menti.com and enter the code that you see on the screen, which I will read out. It's 560624. So we will be happy to hear a bit more from you through this online tool, and I hope that you are ready to participate. And I will go with the first question. We would like to know, where are you from? So you can type in the answer, and we would like to see from where you are following and listening this online event. I see that we have a few participants that are coming from Venezuela, UK, Denmark. So that's really nice to see how much we are spread today, this morning. Do not hesitate to continue. I see people writing from Cote d'Ivoire, who's also, and Uganda. That's really nice to see you all online. And I know that there are plenty more participants all over the world. We will go now to the next slide. And the next question that we would like to ask is, how are you feeling today? how is the day going? If you are feeling good, or if you just woke up and it's a bit sleepy, or you are excited, if you have to take the floor, or excited to learn about the experiences of other children participating on reporting and follow-up. So I see that we have very, very positive feedback from your participants, people feeling good, happy, engaged, energetic. So that's really the good mood for today's session. Super excited, but that's very nice to hear. Thank you very much for all those who are replying from the different parts of the world to these questions. And we will now go to the next question, which is, have you ever used any human rights mechanism before? So we want to know if maybe you had already experiences with the Child Rights Committee, the Universal Periodic Review, or any type of other regional mechanism addressing human rights. So from the first replies that I can see on the screen, we have a few, 5 people that for the moment, or 6, they're increasing, participants that have already engaged. So that's very nice, and would be nice to hear also from these experiences. And for that, for the moment, they're not yet engaged. So I'm sure this session will be, we hope, will be inspiring for you, so that you can use human rights mechanism to make your voice heard more across the world. I would like to thank you very much, everyone, for playing with us with this little game online through Mentimeter. It was a way to know each other a bit more. And that's all for me for the moment. So over to you. Thank you.
Miriam.
Hello. So thank you so much, everyone, for taking part in the Mentimeter. It's good to see a lot of people are excited and what we're looking forward to during this session. So right now, before we start, I will give a small presentation of how we see reporting happens in my country and what we'd like to see improvement. So we do know that more and more children are being supported to participate in reporting, but less is done when it comes to follow-up cases, and we want that to change. As we will hear from children today, follow-up needs to happen to ensure the recommendations made at the UN and African Union level will be realized back to our home countries, so a positive change will be seen and felt by children in their communities. In Zambia, many children are allowed to participate and engage in decision-making and issues affecting them. We are so much involved in issues to do with what decisions are made for us and ensure that there's nothing for us without us. But there is less when it comes to issues of follow-up, because we see after those engagements, not a lot of children are called back to do follow-up so that they can see the progress that has been made and what can also be done better. So what we are hoping is after these meetings that we are having, we will see an improvement when it comes to children being involved in follow-ups. We don't only want children to be involved at the decision-making level processes, we want them to also be engaged in the follow-up cases after those decisions have been made, so that children can also participate in seeing the progress in the work they've been advocating for and contributing on, and also to see what can be done based on where the issues were lacking. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Miriam. And over to you, Delphine, to talk about child safeguarding.
Hello, everyone. Good to see all of you here. My name is Delphine Nchama from the Eastern Africa Child Rights Network. I'll be here to take you through some safeguarding tips on what to do and what not to do, and also to remind all of us that if you haven't shared your consent form for safeguarding, kindly share it to me after this meeting or as the meeting continues. Next slide, Anna. Next one. Next one. Okay, yeah, there we go. So these are the safeguarding rules for our online event today. So what are we supposed to do here? One is to consider different situations or environments of children that some background noises may affect their participation in their webinar. So if you hear some background noises, just consider that these are different situations we are in, and since it's a webinar, we are joining from different environments. Number two, we should be respecting, listening, and equally valuing the voices of children and adults. Since it's a children activity, we are going to respect all your views, all your ideas, and all your opinions, and all the activities that you are going to share with us. Also, we are going to use effective child-friendly language and inclusive language to fully engage children. We have interpretation here, so if you're not understanding, you can go to the interpretation tab, and then you're allowed to click the language that you fully understand so that we can fully engage you. Then the last one, we should seek informed consent of children because all the children who are here. That is why we are asking for the consent form so that we can ensure that we safeguard you. We can protect the content you are going to give us and to share with us, and even the videos we are going to turn on your cameras. Your consent is very important so that as we check the videos, we also safeguard you. So those are the requirements that we are going to do. And then on the next slide, we are going to see what we are not supposed to do on this online webinar. So number one, we are not going to use languages or images or emojis making suggestions or offering advice that is inappropriate, offensive, abusive, discriminatory, sexually provocative, or culturally insensitive. So if any of the presenters or the panelists mention something that you feel is against your culture or your beliefs, kindly feel free to just write an email or even share in the inbox, and then we'll be able to track it and then take note of it. Then number two, we are not going to take sharing screenshot of the online activity without the consent of all the children. And that is why we are asking for you to share your consent form so that, because this is an online activity, we are going to do a report and share videos and use your photos because we are going to ask you to turn on your cameras. So kindly, we will not be able to do that if you don't sign the consent forms and share to us. Then number three, not publishing the child's last name or any personal information that could be used to track your location. If you're not feeling free to share your last name or your name, you can just use your anonymous name. You can use a name that is not originally yours. And feel free, if you're not for that, then kindly let us know so that we may not mention your name or we may not mention where you're coming from for your security purposes. Then also, we are not going to act in ways intended to cause shame, discriminate, humiliate, belittle, or degrade any child or otherwise perpetuate any form of emotional abuse. And kindly, if we say something and you feel like we're offending you emotionally or because we can't reach you, of course, physically, feel free to reach out to us and let us know. Then also, lastly, we are not going to ask personal information of the child or the person in contact with for work related, unless it's for work related also. So if you're asking for information of your organization in the consent form, it's because we want to safeguard you. And in case of anything, we can be able to track you and to reach you. Otherwise, we'll not be asking any further information of where you're coming from, your siblings, your parents, or your guardians. So that will be all about safeguarding. So these are not to do. So if in case you know anything about this, kindly let us know in the chat box or write us an email. Thank you so much. Asante sana, merci, and shukriya, gracias. Over to you, Marie.
Thank you so much, Delphine. And we will be handing straight over to Maria Julia.
Hi everyone, I'm Maria Julia. I work at Child Rights Connect as Associate Program Officer in Switzerland. I'm very excited to be here today and to hear the testimony of so many children. Today, I would also like to speak about the follow-up action based on child-friendly guidance. First of all, there are many ways of doing follow-up activities. Let's see some of them. First of all, you can raise awareness in your country. How can you do this? You can get, for instance, the media involved. This will help you to hold the government to account by raising awareness about children's rights and the reporting process. But you can also spread the word about children's rights by doing things like running activities in school, producing posters, holding children meetings and discussion days, doing podcasts, having websites, training adults, and pretty much anything else you can think of. And you can also involve your excluded peers, those unprivileged and deprived. Another option for doing follow-up activities, next please. Another option for doing follow-up activities is to use other mechanisms at the UN. Other than the Committee on the Rights of the Child, there are other committee and UN mechanisms which work on human rights and children's rights, such as the Committee Against Torture, the Committee on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, the Committee on the Elimination of Discrimination Against Women. There are also other UN agencies like UNICEF who have an important role to help states to implement the recommendation. Also, children's rights is the third most addressed topic in the UPR recommendation so far. Another follow-up activities that you can do is also to monitor the changes. In this case, you can develop your own indicators to measure changes. For instance, you can build good relationship with your government if you can. This will help you to make sure you take action on the committee recommendation or other UN mechanisms. And also, it's important to work out who can help children to make the biggest possible impact on the reporting process. This might be someone like a children ombudsman or children commissioner, a government minister, a member of the committee, or the organization you work with. Finally, another great follow-up activities that you can do is to plan a long-term engagement. It's very important the self-advocacy and involvement of children in human rights monitoring. For that, you have several options here. For instance, join forces with other stakeholders, join or set up child-led permanent group to work on human rights issues, use or create children platform to debate children's rights and human rights issues, including online. You can take part in a peaceful protest. You can also continue to be empowered to act as a child human rights defender by getting relevant support and training from adults, and take action to promote and defend the rights of others. So these are some of the follow-up activities that you can carry out. Also, I would like to share some, in case you would like to learn more, there are many child-friendly tools that you can consult. And also, you can also consult the e-learning platform, which was also included in the invite. So I would like to thank you very much, all of you, today, and give the floor to Mia.
Yeah, thank you so much, Maria Julia, for this presentation. And of course, Child Rights Connect, UPR Info, are organizations that are really developing these guides for children as well. We are working very closely with them at Save the Children, many other organizations and partners that are supporting children here today. Yes, so thank you so much for this. We will now be stepping into the main part of today's sessions, where we will hear from children, as I was saying in the beginning. We will hear from children from 5 countries. So together with Antoine, we will now be presenting Arfan from Senegal. But yes, overall, we have 5 children from Senegal, Uganda, Mozambique, Tanzania, and Malawi to tell you about what they're doing on follow-up to reporting and what they have achieved. So, but I will hand over now to Antoine to present Arfan in French.
Merci beaucoup, Marie. Bonjour à tous et à toutes. Moi, je m'appelle Antoine Mitterhammer. Comme Maria Julia, je travaille chez Child Rights Connect à Genève, ici en Suisse. Et j'ai le grand plaisir de vous présenter Arfan du Sénégal qui va nous parler de son expérience de suivi. Arfan a 16 ans, il vient de la région de Kédougou, qui est située au sud-est du Sénégal. Il est aussi président du Conseil consultatif départemental des enfants et jeunes de
Sorry,
Kédougou.
Antoine. I'm in the English channel, but I hear you speaking in French. So I don't know. One, maybe you can fix this, or the French interpreter can switch to the English, interpret that back in English.
Should I switch to the French channel?
No,
No,
not you,
you're
the
okay. Yeah,
interpreters.
yeah, it's the interpreter. Yeah,
All right.
Ermeline, can you double check that you are in the correct channel, please? Now let's try again, please.
Maybe try speaking in French, Antoine, now.
Maintenant, je parle en français. Est-ce que c'est...
So now I'm trying to speak English. I'm sorry,
Maintenant,
we
ça
had the
marche?
confusion with the other interpreter.
Yes, it works now. Thank you.
Oh, d'accord. OK. Donc, je recommence. Moi, j'appelle Antoine
I'll start
je
over.
m'appelle
My
Antoine
name is
Mitterhammer.
Antoine
Et
Mitterhammer,
je travaille chez Child
and I
Connect
work
à Genève, en Suisse.
at Choice Right Connect
Et
in
aujourd'hui, j'ai le plaisir
Switzerland,
de
in
vous présenter
Geneva.
Arfan
And I'm really
du
happy
Sénégal qui va
to
nous parler de son
introduce
expérience
you
au
our
Sénégal.
fund that will
Arfan a 16 ans,
share
il vient
with
de la
us
région de
his
Kédougou, qui est
follow-up
située au sud-est du
activities.
Sénégal. Il est
He's
président
from
du Conseil
Senegal. He's the
consultatif
president
départemental des
of
enfants et jeunes de Kédougou depuis
advisory
2021.
committee for the
Il est
children and the
accompagné
youth.
par la CONAF, la Coalition
He's
nationale des
there with
associations
CONAF,
et ONG en faveur de l'enfance. Et dans
an
son temps libre, Arfan, il
NGO
aime bien
that
aller
works with
piocher, jouer au foot.
children,
Arfan,
and he
je
loves
te
to
donne la
play
parole.
football. I mean soccer.
Do we have a fan with us? Yes, a fan.
Arfan, tu peux allumer ton micro et tu peux commencer avec ta présentation.
Bonjour,
Good morning.
je
Bonjour.
m'appelle Af.
Go ahead, a fan.
Arfan, tu dois allumer ton micro.
Afan, you need to turn on your mic.
Il y a un souci de connexion.
I think there's a connectivity issue.
Okay. Maybe we can move
Ah,
to.
maintenant, ça
Yes,
marche?
yes. Yeah.
Bonjour à tous.
Hello,
Désolé
everyone.
du retard, hein. Je pensais qu'il y a Antoine qui devait faire ma biographie d'abord.
I thought you were supposed to introduce me first. I give my
Tout d'abord,
biography.
avant de commencer, j'aimerais vous présenter
So
le
before
camarade de
studying
la
anything
page
else,
qui est là devant vous. Tout d'abord,
I'd like
nous aurons
to
l'introduction.
present you the
comportera
way
la
I'm going to do
présentation
my
du CCDJ
presentation. We'll have an
et de la
introduction
CONAF, dont nous aurons à
where I
définir
will
plus tard.
speak
La
about
CONAF, qui est
CONAF,
l'organisation accompagnatrice.
which is an
Deuxièmement, nous aurons
organization
les activités de suivi.
that I work for, and then we'll
Dont les
have the
thématiques sont les
follow-up
mutilations génitales féminines
activities
et la répétition scolaire.
about
Il y aura les activités
um,
que nous avons menées aussi
the genital
dans la
mutilation
sensibilisation, le
issues.
plaidoyer
Then
et
we'll
la
talk
campagne,
about
la démarche,
advocacy work,
ainsi que les résultats.
and I'll talk
Enfin,
about
nous
our
aurons la
results.
conclusion et les remerciements.
And then we'll have a conclusion and thanks at the end. That's the way my presentation is going to go. Are we good?
Yes, please go ahead.
Attendez. Le Conseil consultatif des enfants et jeunes est un cadre d'apprentissage, d'éducation des pairs par
So
les pairs.
child and youth
plaidoyer et le suivi
advisory
des
councils
recommandations
have
et
frameworks
l'étude
for
mondiale des
learning,
Nations
peer-to-peer
Unies sur les
education,
violences faites aux enfants.
advocacy, and follow-up
Il
to the
existe des
recommendation of the
conseils dans les
United
autres
Nations
régions
Global
et tous
Study
sont
on
mis en
Violence
place par
Against
la CONAF Sénégal
Children.
avec l'appui des partenaires et encadrés par les coordinations régionales.
Our
C'est dans
advisory
ces cadres
council,
que nous
like the
menons toutes nos
councils in
activités.
other regions
Au
of
total, au
Senegal,
Sénégal, nous avons
are set up
environ
by the National
45
Coalition of
CCDJ,
Associations
car elles sont réparties
and
en
NGOs
départements.
for
La CONAF
the
est un
benefit
cadre
of
fédératif
children,
des organisations de la société
like
civile
CONAF
qui
Senegal,
œuvrent
with
pour
support
la
of
promotion
PLAN,
et la
Save the
protection des droits
Children,
des
and
enfants au
UNICEF,
Sénégal.
and
La CONAF
supervised
existe
by the
depuis
regional
2004, soit
coordinations
plus de 20 ans.
here in Kédougou. Our council is supervised by the
C'est bon.
NGO, which acts as a regional coordinator. CONAF Senegal is a federating body of civil society organization that has been working to promote and protect children's rights since
Nous avons produit des
2004.
rapports avec l'appui de la CONAF et ses partenaires Save Children, Plan et UNICEF. Le
Like I
premier
was
en
saying,
2018 auprès du comité
we've been
africain
working
des
with
experts sur les
support
droits et
PLAN,
le
Save the
bien-être de
Children, and
l'enfant
UNICEF.
A4BE à Addis Abeba en Éthiopie. Le
And
deuxième,
we
en 2023,
worked
lors
in,
de l'EPU, l'examen
we had
périodique
several
universel
meetings
à
in
Genève, en
Addis
Suisse.
Ababa,
Le troisième, en
in
2023,
Geneva,
auprès du Comité des droits de l'enfant des
Switzerland,
Nations Unies, à Genève, la
and with
CDE,
the
dont j'ai moi-même pu
United
à participer.
Nations committees on the rights of the child, where I myself took part in the presentation.
Et là, nous avons quelques images lors de
And
ces
now we have a
présentations.
few
La
pictures of
première,
that presentation
ce
that
fut en
happened.
2018,
The first one in
l'examen périodique
2018
universel dont un de nos pairs a eu à nous représenter.
to the
La
African
deuxième photo
Committee
en
of
haut à droite,
Experts.
c'est l'année dernière lors de notre présentation à la
The
CD
second
dont
one,
juste,
second
si vous
picture
regardez
is,
bien,
was
vous
taken in
verrez tout
2023
juste en bas,
at the
tout à
UPR.
droite,
If you look at the picture well
c'est
at the
en
very bottom on the
2018
right,
la présentation de notre rapport à Addis Abeba, dont 5 de mes pairs ont eu à
and
présenter.
then it
Et
was
tout juste au
the
milieu,
next one was a
c'est lors de
presentation we
l'écriture de notre
did at
rapport,
Addis Abeba
quand nous
with
faisions
5 of my
des travaux
peers.
de groupe. Voilà,
And the
c'est
last picture is me with my friends and my peers presenting our work.
Maintenant, concernant les activités de suivi,
Now, when
thématique
it
1,
comes
mutilation génitale féminine.
to follow-up
Les
activities,
MGF sont des
when it comes
pratiques
to female
traditionnelles néfastes.
genital
Elles
mutilation,
constituent des
FGM,
violences faites aux filles et aux femmes. Cette
and
thématique est
FGM is a
retenue dans
harmful
notre premier
traditional
rapport
practice
adressé à
that
la
harms the
4B en
health of our young
2018.
sisters.
Dans notre rapport
It has
de
no place in
l'EPU
our
de
country.
l'examen périodique universel est même
It is a
rappelé
form
dans
of
notre
violence
rapport sur
against
la CDE.
girls and women.
Si
The
nous
theme that
insistons sur
was
cette
included
thématique,
in
c'est
our
parce que
first
c'est un
report to the
cœur qui me
CADB
tient à
in
cœur, qui persiste
2018,
et qui n'a pas
in
vu
our
de s'arrêter.
UPR report, and even recalled in our report
Activité
on the
1,
CRC.
nous avons fait des causeries, des dialogues
So we
communautaires,
carried out various
des
activities,
plaidoyers
including
et des visites
awareness-raising
à
activities with different
domicile.
age groups,
C'est
community
bon.
dialogues, advocacy activities, and home visits.
Et lors de la préparation, tout d'abord, avec nos pairs du
During our
conseil
preparation,
consultatif, nous sommes rendus dans nos postes de santé pour avoir des
we went
informations.
to
Il nous a
health
été rapporté que
centers
le taux de décès des
to
enfants
get
de nos jeunes mères ayant subi cette
information,
pratique était élevé. Ensuite, nous nous sommes regroupés
and
pour
that's how
élaborer
we
notre
realized
stratégie
and we get
afin de
information
lutter
about the
contre cela.
high rate
C'est
of
durant ces rencontres que nous avons
FGM.
choisi comment nous allons mener
And
nos
because of
activités,
those meetings
les
and
lieux,
those
le moment, les
information
personnes ou
collection,
institutions cibles et le budget nécessaire.
we decided that we had to
Et
fight
le
and
déroulement,
advocate
concernant les
for
causeries,
activities so
elles
that
consistent
people
à
could
faire
be
de l'animation avec les
protected.
adolescents uniquement ou avec les adultes
So
séparément.
what did we do? We
C'est-à-dire
started
une
doing youth
animation avec les
activities,
adultes seulement ou avec les
and
ados
sometimes we
seulement.
would do activities
En
with
doit séparément.
adults separately.
Les dialogues communautaires ou encore appelés
We also
dialogues
had
intergénérationnels. Ce
community
sont des
dialogues.
activités où nous regroupons des
There are
groupes de
activities
personnes
through
où
which we
les
bring together
adolescents et
groups
jeunes
of
échangent
young people
avec les adultes sur les dangers et les
or
conséquences des
adults
MGF.
and
Des
talk
fois,
to
nous
them
allons
about the
même dire en
dangers
invitant
and
nos grandes-mères
consequences of
qui font subir
FGM.
à nos jeunes sœurs ces pratiques-là,
And we share
tout en
examples
essayant de
of
les
that.
conscientiser elles aussi, afin de
And we
trouver
try
des
to
solutions.
bring
Les
awareness
PAD,
to all
quant
the
à
people
elles, consistent à aller dans les maisons
involved.
les unes après les autres et expliquer
The
davantage
home
les
visits
conséquences
consist
de
of
cette
going
pratique.
into houses
C'est une
one after
manière
the other,
de
explaining the
convaincre nos parents,
consequences of
car
this
c'est dans les
practice.
familles où ça se décide,
It is a way
si
of
la pratique
convincing our
sera suivie
parents
ou pas.
because it is in the family
Les
that
activités de
decisions are
plaidoyer,
made.
elles se font auprès des
We also
autorités locales,
do
c'est-à-dire les
carry
élus
out
locaux
advocacy
ou nationales,
activities
les
with
ministres
local
ou
and
députés,
national
pour
authorities
faire
to
appliquer les
reinforce
lois,
or
notamment les lois
enforce the
sur les
laws
mutilations
that
génitales.
apply to our rights, in particular the law on FGM.
Thématique 2, la déperdition scolaire.
Second
La
theme,
déperdition scolaire est un véritable fléau au Sénégal.
school deperdition
Selon moi, d'ailleurs, c'est la
is a
principale cause
real
d'insertion,
scourge in
des
Senegal.
problèmes
It is, for
d'insertion
me, the main
des
cause of
jeunes
problems
dans le monde
encountered by some
professionnel.
young people
Et
in
l'activité
entering the world
principale
of
que nous
work.
avons eu à mener est la campagne de sensibilisation.
After noticing
La
that some of our
préparation.
peers were dropping out of
Avec mes
school,
pairs du
we
conseil
first
consultatif,
organized
nous
ourselves,
avons
as we had
organisé
done
des
with the
rencontres
FGM
pour
theme.
préparer
We
l'activité
targeted
de campagne.
awareness-raising
Nous avons,
activities
dans
in
un
the form
premier
of a
temps, vu
campaign.
des vidéos sur l'importance
Then
de
we
l'éducation.
made videos where we talked about the importance of
Nous avons créé un
education.
groupe WhatsApp pour échanger,
Then we created a
partager
WhatsApp
et
group
valider nos
to
vidéos
share our videos
avec la supervision de nos très chers encadreurs, dont je tiens à remercier.
under the supervision
Le
of our
déroulement.
leaders.
Les vidéos ont été publiées et partagées
And
pendant les
then the
3 jours de
videos were
campagne
published and
où
shared
nous
during the
étions très
3-day
actifs.
campaign. We are very active. And we also went out into the neighborhoods, inviting children and parents to explain the importance of schooling and the disadvantages of not going to school as well.
Et en termes de résultats, du côté des mutilations
What are the
génitales
outcomes?
il y a de plus en plus de signalements et de dénonciations auprès des
There are
CDP
more and
au
more
niveau local.
reportings
Nous avons beaucoup de
at
nos
the local
pairs qui nous
level.
rejoignent et s'engagent à lutter
A lot
contre
of our
ce fléau,
peers
ce qui nous a donné
joined
beaucoup plus
us,
de force. Certains
and that
élus
gave us a
locaux
lot
dans
of
nos
strength.
communes ont pris des engagements pour
Some
appuyer la
officials, the government
sensibilisation et
officials,
aussi certains parents sont avec nous.
made
25%
commitments
des filles et des
to
femmes
help us.
âgées de 15 à 49
So at
ans
local
ont
level,
subi cette
after our
pratique au
involvement in
niveau
this
national,
process,
c'est-à-dire dans
we
tous
can
les
clearly
centres
see
du
that fewer
territoire national.
pupils are dropping out of
Soit
school.
90%
And
à
according to one
ce qui est
estimate,
vraiment très,
the
très
dropout
énorme.
rate is now
Voilà, ce taux diminue
26.7
certes,
for
mais
girls,
très
percent for
lentement.
girls, and
Et
22.2%
du
for
côté de la
boys at
déperdition
the national
scolaire,
level.
au niveau local, après notre implication dans ce processus, nous constatons
So
nettement qu'il y a moins
we
d'élèves qui
see a lot of
abandonnent ces études.
outcomes and positive
D'après une
outcomes
estimation, le
further
taux
to our
d'abandon
activities
scolaire
and
serait
our
maintenant de
actions.
26,7%
Like I
pour
was
les filles et
saying,
de
the dropout rate is
22,2%
now 26.7% for girls and 22.2% for boys.
car il n'y a pas de recensement qui a été effectué, ni
And we have
d'estimation.
no figures for Kedugu, as no census has been carried out and no estimates have been made.
Tout d'abord, je ne saurais terminer mes propos
I'd like to
sans
conclude
remercier
my
le travail
remarks.
remarquable que tout un chacun ici présent
And I want
fournit à notre
to say
égard
thank
pour
you
le
to
respect de nos droits.
each one
C'est
of
un
you,
véritable
to
honneur pour moi
everything
de
that
représenter et de
you've
parler au
done
nom de mes
to
pairs,
help
de
us.
partager
It's a
mon
great honor
expérience
for me
avec les
to
enfants des autres pays
represent
ici
my
présents.
peers.
Merci aux initiateurs et la
Thank you
confiance
so
de mes
much
pairs, de la CONAF et mes
for the
parents
trust that my
placés sur moi.
peers, CONAF
Je vous
Senegal,
remercie
and
de
my
votre
parents have
aimable
placed in me. I will always defend our rights,
Un grand merci à
especially the
toi,
right of
Afan,
girls.
pour
Thank you
prendre
so
la relais
much.
de ces
Well, thank you so much,
précieuses
Afan,
activités de
for
suivi que tu as
sharing
entreprises.
your
Et je pense que la
activities of
manière dont,
follow-up.
dont vous avez mené les activités et les résultats que
The
vous avez
way
atteints
you've
sont très impressionnants,
executed
notamment la
those
réduction du
activities
taux
is very
d'abandon scolaire
impressive and
que vous avez pu
remarkable,
observer,
especially
ou que vous avez
for
fait
the
en sorte que
dropout,
les élus locaux
the
s'engagent
school
pour soutenir la
dropping out
sensibilisation
rates.
en ce qui concerne la mutilation génitale
When it comes
féminine.
to FGM,
Et je redonne la parole à Marie pour
we know there's
présenter
so
le
much
prochain
work to
document.
do, and
Et
thank you for
si
the advocacy
quiconque a
work
des
you've done.
questions ou des
And if
suggestions,
you
je
have any
serai
questions
totalement disponible.
or
Merci.
suggestion, I'm here for
Merci.
you.
Merci à toi, Arfan.
Thank you so much.
À toi, Marie, pour présenter le prochain
And
document.
over to you, Mary, to present the next speaker.
Thank you so much, Afan and Antoine, for helping this. And yeah, what a great presentation. We will now move to hear from our next child speaker, who's Ali Kigunda, who's a 16-year-old student from Uganda. And he's making waves as a passionate advocate for child rights. He's currently enrolled at Kingston High School, and he not only excels academically, but also shines as a leader in his school's media club, which is a platform that amplifies the voices of young people. As a dedicated member of the High Sound for Children's Media Clubs, Ali has taken on the role of peer leader, guiding discussions and championing the rights of his fellow student. I'll now hand it over to you to do your presentation, Ali.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mary. Next slide, please. So technically, as they've said, I'm enrolled at Kingston High School and a member of High Sound for Children, which is an organization that advocates for children's rights. And as per that, we had a meeting and we formalized the book, Haki for All, to sensitize every child in across the globe, although as per currently it was still in the African continent, but we had a book written as Haki for All, Haki meaning rights for all. It's a Haki for All initiative. Actually, I'm glad that I was part for Haki for All, an important program in Africa to sensitize every child of their rights. It helps children learn about their rights from the African Charter and Rights and Welfare of the Child Rights. That's SCRWC. So this book contains each and everything that has been inclusive in the Charter. I share my I share what I learn with my friends at school. Because since I'm in a media club, I'm glad that I have that voice to amplify to my fellow students and sensitize them of their rights. Next slide, please. Special representative of the Secretary General of Violence Against Children participation. This was a meeting that took place. I won't recall the date, and I'm not sure of the date. I'm not recalling the date perfectly, but it was the Secretary General was inclusive to listen to our thoughts. And I joined in the discussion about violence against children. This was a major talk since in Africa, it has been witnessed so much that as per currently, the violation of children's rights has been on an increasing rate, but as per what is happening, it has been decreased. And I help make sure that voices of children are heard and their problems are talked about. That in that meeting, I didn't just sit to spectate. I had to ask some questions, and I had to also amplify my voice, ask some, as in put more way forward, create a way forward to what the problems were. And as per that, together we can stop violence. Next slide, please. Annual UCRNN advocacy camp. This actually happens every first term holiday. That's 15th May to the suggested date, but currently they're still making plans to make it further, because the way we enjoy it is more, and the more we enjoy it is the more we learn from it. The theme this time, it was nothing about us without us, and I had some of my colleagues saying that, and I was impressed, because that theme actually spoke more about us, that you can't create a right and it's of a child, but then the child is not there to experience that right. I attended the UCRN annual children's camp where children discuss their rights. We sit down, select some options, select some questions. We have some discussions to create that are created, and we discuss. And then after we present, as per currently, at the end of the camp, a member of parliament, all members of parliament, and the Saudi people come to hear from the children in different forms. Sometimes we present them, it depends actually, because there is a time we presented all of them in form of music, dance and drama, poems, songs, and we presented it. And it was a fun way to make a big impact. And I shared my thoughts and learned how to make things better for everyone. In that scenario, I've told you that we go there, learn, enjoy, but also share the knowledge with the people around us, the children around us. Next slide, please. Regional consultation at the UN. I attended an online event with children and important leaders from the UN. Actually, that event took place virtually, just like this. So that's why I actually love this fact that I was open to engage with some other students to inform them about me and to inform them about how their rights can be heard and how they can execute them. When we attended this online event, we discussed numerous things: how child rights are violated, what is the way forward, what is the main impact, and everything. As we discussed this, but currently some of them have been put in order. They discussed how to include child rights in the law policies, and that was lacking somewhere, somehow, in some countries, because as per every child who attended said so, but as per currently, when we went for a follow-up again, it was fantastic, and most of the things had been covered. My ideas help make sure that children are part of the conversation. I normally and seriously never forget that I'm a child myself, and a child is the only person who can understand another child. A child speaks to a child. No child can speak to an elder openly like they speak to other children. Next slide, please. CSO Forum Consultative Meeting. I took part in the meetings to discuss ways how to help children in 2022, 2023, and 2024. These meetings actually happen due to the fact that they need to hear our say. They can't just decide for us just because they're elders and they know what's best for us. They need to know what we want, not what's best for us, but what we want as we children. But again, they have to also place some advice, because not that everything we want is right. Yes? So we attend these meetings to discuss on the way forward of the children's rights, how to put them in place, how to engage them in the law, and how to get representatives at large that are children. Because as I said, a child best understands another child. So we get these children representatives on the above level. And here I connect with leaders and share what children need. We connect with different leaders from around the country or around the continent. Because as I told you, in the previous meeting, we connected with the Secretary General and of the UN. And as per these meetings we have been having those bigger people to talk to, just like so that your voices, you and I are heard. And working together is the key, because one by one makes a bundle, but many voices can be heard than one. Next slide, please. And these are UCR International Symposium. Sorry. I met with other young advocates to share my ideas and experiences. I've met, just like I've told you, there are those engagements we come up to, and we meet other young leaders, other young advocates. Just like right now, I've met Afran, I've met Brianna, I've met most of you. I've met I've forgotten the names, but I've met all of you as per currently, although virtually. But I know that one time we will meet physically, and we work hand in hand to protect children's rights in Uganda. In Uganda, we have so far right now we have got that baseline that at least right now the children's rights are represented. That we have got child representatives to go to parliament and express our views. And in conclusion, I would say that together we are stronger, and nothing about us without us, and together we can. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's make a change together. And you're all welcome for that. Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ali, for this great presentation. So excited to hear about the advocacy camps, the CSO forum, and the many events that you participated in to really raise children's issue here. And the Hacky for All, I think, would be interesting for more children also to hear about. And we will be sharing more materials on that after the event as well in our learning brief. So stay tuned for more. So thank you so much.
Welcome.
We will now move to do a quick poll to interact with you, children. And maybe also, the really main focus here is to hear from the children. We have online that are participating. So if you want to answer this quick poll that Anna's going to bring up, and then we will have a Q&A afterwards, and there will be 2 more Q&As later on once we hear from more children speak as well. So.
Okay, so I've just launched the poll, and in reflecting on all of the amazing things that we've just heard from our speakers about the different events that they've participated in, the amazing things that they've done, we'd love to hear from you whether you have been involved in anything like this before. So the first question is, have you ever participated in events to raise child rights concerns? And you can say yes or no. I can see a few answers coming in already. Keep them coming. And for those of you who clicked yes, we'd love to know what type of events you've participated in. So there's a few options there. I'll read them all so that it can be translated. 1, meetings with government. 2, meetings with UN or AU staff. 3, speaking at pre-sessions. 4, campaigns to highlight child rights issues. 5, other regional, national or school events. Or 6, annual child rights days. And there's also an option there, number 7, something else, because you might have been doing other things that we haven't thought of. And I can see from the answers coming in so far that quite a lot of you have been involved in events to raise child rights concerns in the past, which is so exciting. And it's so great to have you here. But also a few people saying, no, they've not been involved. And so hopefully this is a great way to inspire you to get involved with some of these. And
can we show the results, Anna? Sorry.
Yes, I'll end the poll. I'll just see if they'll have a few more questions a few more responses before I end it. But we can see that meetings with UN staff is coming up really high, 85% of respondents, including that so far, and also other regional, national or school events. Okay, I'm going to end the poll now. Last chance to get your answers in so that we can all see the results. Okay, hopefully you can all see that with lots of people sharing that they have been involved in events in the past as well, which is so exciting to see. Back to you, Marie.
Great. Thank you so much, Anna. Yes, exciting to see that there's a lot here that already has experiences, but of course also what we really want to inspire, that maybe also there are children that have not been involved in this, and for you to learn from the children that are presenting here today on how maybe to get involved in the future as well. So we will now open the floor for any questions that you would like to pose to any of the children that have been presenting so far. So what you can do is, and this is preferably for children, because this is a children's session. So you can raise your hand and we can then unmute you if you have any specific questions right now. We're not entirely sure how many children we have online that are participating. But of course, if you don't want to raise your hand, you can also use the Q&A box. I see that we have some Mentimeter responses, but there are also actually a few questions there. So while we wait, if someone wants to raise a hand, we can maybe talk about some of the questions that are in the Q&A box. So I see Jiushen has shared a question in the Q&A. It says, now, after reporting and follow-up on FGM, which is female genital mutilation issues, what are the future aspirations to continue following up to ensure the issues will completely be eradicated so that we can no longer have female genital mutilation? How do they expect to approach that? And I see one of our children, Yasin, has already responded to this question actually in writing. So if you go to the Q&A box, you can see what are open questions and answered questions. And Yasin has responded. Do you want to speak to this, Yasin, yourself? If you unmute, come on camera. Can you hear us?
Yes.
Do you want to say what you've written as a response in this Q&A box?
Yes, I can.
Please.
In Tanzanian government, under Samia Suluhu Hassan, the government have brought awareness to the citizens by educating them on the effects of female genital mutilation. Since the education is free to primary and secondary schools, due to that, the government has ensured that if all students are able to get education through the education which they have been given in schools, they have emphasized on the effects of female genital mutilation so as to ensure that the societies get more education on the effect of female genital mutilation so as to stop practicing the female genital mutilation. But also, they have emphasized on, they have put strict law which will punish those who will engage themselves in female genital mutilation. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Yasin. Yes, and of course, what we often see that we want to do when we do follow up is also we want to influence the government to have laws in place so that we can have a justice system that can also punish people that don't, stick to these laws that we have. So, for instance, a very strict law in your country, Tanzania, that punishes people that engage in female genital mutilation because it's banned and prohibited. And of course, that's what we also want to, that's a type of thing that we could be influencing, and children could also be influencing, right? So thank you so much for sharing that. There's another question. I don't see anyone who raised their hand, but I see there's another question also from Dioshen in the Q&A box. It says it's to Uganda, so Ali, I guess. It says, oh, you already answered it, maybe. It says the question, oh, you're answering it now, I can see.
No, I haven't answered, but I'm going to answer. So,
yeah, maybe Mike just post a question first and then you answer so that if they can't find the chat box, then we're sure they know. So the question is from Dioshen in Uganda. How do you see the impact of your engagement in that process? And what do they do to ensure the views of more children are gathered and heard? I don't know if they are specific events, but yeah, maybe you would like to
Yeah.
suggest. Yeah, Ali, go ahead.
Dear Jen, so this is the thing. Now, like this particular meeting you're having, it's being recorded and everything being recorded. We are having secretaries that are writing, and as per us, we chose we like we first create that sample meeting. That sample meeting that is created now. Let me use the meeting that where I was subjected to go to the parliament to raise our views. This was a meeting we first came as children from different societies and regions. We came together. After coming together, we decided about one thing. Now, let me say that it was child violence. If it was child violence, how can we go away with that? But these people we needed to be heard by the parliament, because us, we come, we discuss, but we don't have the power to go and tell them that you do this, stop. But the legislative body can do so. So I personally went to the parliament and raised my view, and how it impacted as per currently. If you've been watching the news lately, we have in Uganda, we have this thing that has been brought up on child punishments. We're no longer caned at school, by the way, for that. And that was because of us that I won't say that because of me personally, but because of the people that came together and raised their concerns. I actually went with a full book of children's views and what they thought about everything. There was child labor, there was child violence, but as per the two, child violence and child heavy punishments given to children have been eliminated. And what they do to ensure the views of more children are gathered every year and per every month. We bring up children. As per I've told you about the children's advocacy camp. Children come together and share their ideas once again. They bring more to what they have learned and what they have seen and what they have felt as them. Then more is told. Yeah, so that is all I can say
Thank
to
you so
you, dear
much,
Jen.
Ali. Yeah, great. That's so good to hear. I mean, all the great work you're doing, and hopefully can inspire more also to do more. That's so good. Thank you. I see there's a hand, but we actually do need to move on. We want to make sure all our children can present, but you can raise your hand again. I see there's a hand from Platform Madagascar, or you can put your question in the Q&A box. But I think in interest of time, we do need to move. So next we will be hearing from Yasin from Tanzania. You already heard from him. But Yasin is a 16-year-old boy from Dar es Salaam in Tanzania. He's currently a student at Kilangala High School based in Pwani region. And Yasin is a treasurer for the Junior Council of the Republic of Tanzania from last year, 2023, until today. So he's also a council leader of the District Children's Council in Dar es Salaam. Yeah, so over to you, Yasin, to do your presentation.
Thanks so much for this opportunity. As you have introduced to me, my name is Yasin Juma from Tanzania. I'm the treasurer of the Union Council of United Republic of Tanzania. The children's engagement in the follow-up to reporting the global and regional human rights mechanism, Tanzania 4 August 2024. Next slide. As a Union Council, I coordinate and have played an active representing role in various child-led council forums in Dar es Salaam region and at the national level. I have been instructed in the decisions and the technical support preparation of the Children's Alternative Report to United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child between 2023 and 2024. I also participated in a number of national forums such as Child-Led Initiative, workshop, and meeting on the climate changes and environment. Next slide. Participation in follow-up and reporting. I participated in preparation of the children's opinions on the implementation of the United Nations Convention of the Rights of the Child in Tanzania. The process involved development of tools, data collection, compilation, and drafting the report, validation, and finalization. the data collection, it was done through questionnaire, whereby the set of the questions were sent and described to different areas, especially in primary schools and secondary schools, where the students, they discussed on the question which they have been given according to the region they are living. Submission to the committee of experts is normally facilitated by the Tanzanian Child State Forum through mobilization of NGOs in Tanzania that are working with and for the child. In Tanzania, the Tanzanian Child Rights Forum is the NGOs which help us to take our reports and send it to the Geneva, to the committee of the expert of the child. Next slide, please. The Union Council of the United Republic of Tanzania, which is also known as Baraza la Watoto, under the leadership of the Minister of Community Development, Gender and Children, which was established in December 2002. Children express their views through Children's Council at different levels, streets, wards, district, regions, and the national levels. The Union Council of Tanzania was established in different levels, from the street level, ward level, district level, regional level, and national level, whereby the Union Council at the street level, children were meet at the local government, whereby they elect their leaders. There is a chairman, secretary, and a treasurer, and the three, which are the members of the Union Council, whereby at the ward level, the heads or the chairmen from the street level, they are the one who form the Union Council at the ward level, in which the same process takes place. The election is being done. The chairmen from different streets, they're the one who build the Union Council at the ward, whereby they do election. In the election, they elect chairman, again secretary, there will be treasurer, and the members of the council, and the other will be as the members of the council. At the district level, it depends on the numbers of the ward it has, since that each ward will send the chairman at the district level so as to form the Union Council at the district level, which will comprise, or it will consist of the chairmen which are elected from the different wards in the district. At the region level, it will comprise again of the secretary and the region, which they are found in the specific region. Now at the national level is a good difference, since as you know in Tanzania, there is Tanzania, mainland, and Zanzibar. Now in the district level, the Union Council, it consists of 70 members, whereby 10 will be from Zanzibar. Since at Zanzibar there is the 5 regions, in which two leaders from each region, whereby we include the gender balance, mean one will be the male, other will be the female, whereby one will be the chairman, the other will be secretary, to build the Union Council of Tanzania, whereby then there will be the children with disabilities. For instance, in the Union Council of Tanzania, of United Republic of Tanzania, from which was elected in 2022, in 2023, there is one of our members on the Union Council is a child with a disability. So we encourage that the participation of the children with disability we are encouraging the participation of the children with disabilities in the Union Council of Tanzania to ensure that we are getting information and opinions from different people, since as each citizen, each student or a child has its unique. Next slide, please. It is a children-led structure, and children have the right to participate in how their communities are governed by the local government authorities. Through the annual general meeting of Union Council, children discuss issues of their concern and present it to government and stakeholders for their action. Now, in the Union Council, we're doing to present our discussion. We have the meeting we have meetings 2 times per year. I mean, especially at the June and in December. It is according to our constitution, which we have at the Union Council of United Republic of Tanzania. The election for national leader is done after every 2 years. Next slide, please. Participation in follow-up and reporting to ACRWC and the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child. Implementation of Child Rights Convention involves children through the Children Council and thematic clubs and through individuals. The government developed policies, law, regulation, and bylaws to protect the rights of children as per the region and the Global Convention. Children express their opinions on the implementation of the Child's Rights Agreement through various ways, including preparation of complementary report to the state reports and under facilitation of the NGOs. Yes, of course, on the participation in follow-up, as the Union Council of United Republic of Tanzania, last time we met at Dodoma, at the headquarters of the Tanzanian, to discuss the issues which concerning the children. For instance, I can say that there is the laws which there is a law okay. Yes.
We are at time. It's so exciting to hear all you are sharing, but unfortunately, we also need to move because we also want to hear from the other children. If you have more you want to share, we can also update the presentation with that information and share it out afterwards. But I want to thank you so much for your presentation. It was really exciting to hear about the Junior Children's Councils. Having been there for more than 20 years, really at different levels, child-led. I mean, it's so exciting. We would love to hear much more about how it works and share more material. So thank you so much. I think we will now move it to Brianna, and I will have Jaime from Mozambique also introduce Brianna very shortly. We are at time. We are a bit short of time, so yeah, over to you.
Boa tarde a todos. Eu quero
Hola.
introduzir,
Hey, how are you? Thank you.
tenho o prazer de vos
I have the
apresentar a
pleasure to
Brianna.
introduce you, Brianna.
Brianna é uma menina
Brianna,
deputada do Parlamento Infantil.
she is a representative from the Child
Ela é
Parliament.
também ativista, é campeã
She's
de
also an
mudanças
activist and a change champion.
para combate a uniões prematuras em Moçambique.
She's fighting against what we call the early unions or the early
E ela tem um sonho, o
engagements
sonho dela
here
de
in
ser
Mozambique.
uma economista.
and her dream is to become an economist.
Brianna, esse é teu momento.
Brianna, the floor is yours whenever you want.
Olá a todos.
Hi
Muito
there.
obrigada.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Chamo-me Briana,
My name is
pertenço ao
Brianna,
Parlamento Infantil da cidade
and I'm
de
part
Maputo,
of the
capital
Child
do
Parliament in
país.
Maputo, the
Esse é um
capital of
distrito
this country.
chamado Camavota.
And I'm really
Aqui
happy
nós
to be here.
acreditamos
And
que o
I'm from a
Parlamento
district
Infantil deve
called
ser um órgão
Kamavota.
provincial
Here we have the
com
Child
intuito de
Parliament.
respeitar alguns núcleos
We have a distrital parliament, and we have some different centers where
O Parlamento
we try
Infantil
to
é
take these
coordenado
actions to
pelo
all
governo
communities.
a
The
todos os
parliament is
níveis,
coordinated
com apoio de
by the
vários
government
parceiros,
in
incluindo
every
o Save the
single
Children.
level, and we have different partners, including Save the Children, of course.
Slide seguinte, por favor.
Next slide, please.
As partes vermelhas dos
Okay,
slides
so
falam
you
do
see here
desenvolvimento infantil e
some
as
red
partes azuis
boxes that will talk about the parliament. And then we have some blue boxes then that I'm going to explain a couple of things later. In this first part, I just want to describe how the children are involved, are engaged in the discussions. We have some supplementary reports, as you know. In 2018, the Child Parliament was responsible for leading the formulation process of child-led convention. We had some representatives from each community, and they were talking to children to consolidate a final report that is bringing information on how to engage children and how can we listen to children in an effective form. The idea was to take this to Geneva and ask for some adjustments and do some recommendations based on the opinion of our children. With the support of Save the Children in 2022, our organization was bringing together children with disabilities. We were helping the children with disabilities to be able to produce their own report based on the Charter of the Rights and Welfare of the Child. In 2023, the Child Parliament it was also responsible for coordinating some of the activities of the ACRWC, which was also led by children. This report was something we created together, and it was submitted in 2023 to a experts committee on children's rights from the African Union. And yeah, we were part of some discussions with the specialists and experts in Lesotho. Next, please.
Como o relatório anual da criança,
Well, now the blue boxes I mentioned before. In 2020, based on or with the help of some stakeholders, we had some resolutions from the government and some resolutions from the organizers. In the last slide of this presentation, I have some important messages that I can bring you based on these recommendations that we had. The annual report is created with online participation from some NGOs and some people that we are interested in participating, right? And we have children from the 11 provinces of Mozambique, and each province was responsible for bringing together a report of what children is saying, and there is a final instance that is putting together everything in a single report. This process will be very good because we can help producing a report, and last year we used this report as one of the sources to produce the supplementary report on child rights and children rights on African communities. The African Union gave us a very short time to produce the report, and this was our base, our main input, this report. So we are really happy that we have it. Next slide, please.
E as recomendações da Convenção
Some
sobre
of
os
the
Direitos da
recommendations
Criança
and some of
e a Carta
the
Africana dos
important
Direitos do Homem
messages
têm estado
on
reconhecidos
the
nas sessões do Parlamento Infantil. São produzidas
ACERWC, you
resoluções
see that we have some
que são destinadas a
resolutions
promover
that
o
are
desenvolvimento
produced,
da
and the
sociedade
idea is
civil.
that the Mozambican
No
government and
âmbito
all
da
the
sessão
instances of the
do Parlamento
society can
Distrital,
respect these recommendations,
provincial e nacional
right?
são
So
aprovadas
we have an
resoluções que
approval of
imediatamente
important
são
resolutions
entregues ao
that
governo e às
are
organizações da sociedade
effective
civil
immediately
comunitárias,
for the civil
nacionais e
society and for the
internacionais
government,
para serem
both
implementadas.
nationally and regionally. These
As resoluções do
recommendations should
Parlamento
be
Infantil
implemented
são baseadas nas preocupações
immediately.
das crianças
We
e nas
base
recomendações da
our
Convenção sobre os Direitos da
recommendations on the
Criança e do Acordo
concerns that
africano sobre os
children
direitos do
had
bem-estar da
raised
criança.
to our
Nas
attention,
suas
and we, of
áreas
course,
de
work
incidência,
with
escolas,
the different
unidades
communities,
e
schools,
outros, os
districts, and
deputados
other
promovem e
instances. And
interagem com
these
outras crianças
opinions are taken
no nosso
to
dia a
the
dia.
parliament
Colhem destas
based
crianças
also on the
a
interaction with
questão de
children
estar
in
e o que
the
lhes preocupa.
everyday
Depois
activities
dos
we
deputados
perform.
concluírem
We try to listen
estas
to them and
preocupações no
understand
Parlamento Infantil,
what are
as
their main
reformas
concerns,
práticas
what are
concernem
they
muitas
thinking,
crianças.
what are their
Temos todas as
worries,
nossas
their fears,
imaginações.
and that's affecting our
Como
children, of
queremos
course, and we want to take
estaremos
this
também as
to the next
recomendações
level.
das
So these
convenções,
recommendations
aquilo que
that
achamos
are
que nos
taking
preocupa e é urgente, incluímos nas nossas
and that we
resoluções.
believe are urgent,
Assim
they will
temos as
become part of our
recomendações sobre direitos da
resolutions.
criança,
Some of the
refletidas nas
resolutions are
resoluções
based
do
on child
Parlamento Infantil.
labor, on different topics that are
A maioria
important
das
for our
recomendações
children.
da Convenção sobre os
We
Direitos
have
da Criança
some
e Carta Africana sobre os Direitos e o Bem-Estar da
monitoring
Criança,
on the recommendations, and that's also an important
as
part
recomendações
because the
da
recommendations
Convenção
that
sobre os Direitos
were
da Criança
defined
de 2019
on children's
identificamos
rights
como prioridade
can
os
come with
seguintes
some
pontos.
priorities. We feel that we have five
Não à
topics that are
discriminação de crianças
priorities.
com deficiência,
First,
crianças com
no
autismo, crianças
discrimination of children with
vulneráveis.
disability,
Achamos
with
que nós
albinismo, or that are
que estas
vulnerable in
crianças precisam
somehow.
de maior
We believe
atenção
these
de
children
todos.
require more
Moçambique
attention
deve
from
eliminar
us.
a
Mozambique
mortalidade
is
infantil.
committed
Infelizmente, ainda
to
temos muitas crianças
eliminate
que morrem por
the
doenças
child mortality. Some
preveníveis.
children are still dying
A prevenção
from
de acidentes
preventable
de
diseases.
viação
That's not
afetando
right.
crianças.
Traffic accidents affecting
Há
children
muitas
should be
crianças que são
prevented. That's
vítimas de
another
acidentes de viação.
objective. Okay?
Prevenção e combate a
We need
crianças prematuras.
to avoid
Naquela altura não
premature
tínhamos uma lei
union.
específica em
We
Moçambique,
didn't
mas
have
agora
a
já
specific
temos.
law,
Mesmo
specific
assim, a
legislation
prática
in
de
Mozambique
prevenir as
for this.
prematuras em
But
larga
now
escala continua.
we need to understand that this
Temos
is
também como
a very important
principais
topic for
assuntos
our
levantados
children
naquelas
here.
resoluções do
And
Parlamento
some
Infantil
other
mais
topics that
comuns
were discussed
que aparecem nas
and that are very
resoluções das
common
últimas
in the
sessões nacionais
resolutions,
do Parlamento Infantil
which
são
are
a educação
basically
inclusiva, toda
related
criança com
to
deficiência
inclusive
tem os mesmos
education,
direitos que todas
children
as
with
crianças têm.
some sort
Desde a
of
escola
disability,
primária,
they need to
inclusive,
have the same access
eliminar a
rights as
venda
other
de
children.
bebidas
We
alcoólicas
cannot
aos
sell
menores.
alcoholic
Impedir o
beverages to
acesso de
children.
menores a clubes
We
noturnos. Existe uma
cannot
lei sobre isto, mas não está sendo
tolerate
aplicada o
access
suficiente.
of
Prevenir,
children
prevenir e combater
to
as práticas
nightclubs.
de trabalho
We
infantil.
need to
Na
fight
sessão de 2017,
labor, child
o Parlamento
labor.
Infantil
In
pediu ao chefe de Estado que
2017,
prestasse
we
atenção
asked for
no
special
problema do trabalho
attention
infantil em Moçambique.
to child labor in Mozambique,
Isso
which is a
também
very
vem
important
mais à
problem.
saúde da
We
criança
were
e
interested in
a
reducing
redução à
problems of
desnutrição entre
healthcare
esses.
and malnutrition.
A implementação de
The
resoluções
implementation of the resolutions from the parliament
também assunto
is
preocupante
also a
que
very
deveríamos
concerning
incluir
topic that
também
we believe
nas
we need to work
recomendações dos direitos da criança.
on the next
Concretamente,
set of recommendations.
depois do Parlamento Infantil apelar ao
After
chefe do Estado em
the
agosto de
child parliament
2017, em outubro de
was
2018,
calling
o Conselho de
the
Ministros adoptou
minister
a
council,
lista das piores formas de
we
trabalho
know that
infantil
we have
e
some
respectivo plano
lists
de
that
ação.
are
Foi adotada
depicting the
em
worst
2019 a
cases
Lei contra as
on
reuniões
child labor,
prematuras.
And finally, we have a child labor bill that was approved in 2017. In 2019, we have the law against premature reunion, and the government is including the issue of alcohol consumption in the agenda. Next slide. Yeah, well, just to show you some of the interesting reports that were produced before in
Sorry,
the
Brianna.
previous years. Sorry?
I will probably have to cut you off here. It's so interesting to hear, but we have so short time, unfortunately. We also want to hear from Faith. So I want to thank you so much for sharing everything about the child parliaments and all the resolutions, which is amazing to hear that you're tying these processes together, also with the rules and the follow-up. Thank you so much. I think we will now be handing over to Faith in the interest of time. So Faith Muzamara is a 15-year-old girl from Malawi, and she's currently in secondary school. She's very passionate about ensuring that the needs of vulnerable children are met by various duty bearers. So I'll hand it over to you, Faith.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Marie. Once again, I'm Faith Mzmara from Malawi. I'm 15 years old. I'm a member of Mzimba South Children's Parliament and also a member of National Children's Parliament for Malawi. Actually, it is an honor and privilege for me to be taking part in this important discussion on this important subject on how children are following up on the outcomes of the Convention of the Rights of a Child and also the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of a Child and also on the Universal Periodic Review. It has really been an honor for children here in Malawi to be recognized to take part in this important discussion. So to begin with, we children of Malawi, we write and submit our own children's report to the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of a Child, and again to the Universal Periodic Review. So when we write these reports, the outcomes are the recommendations. So some of the children's representatives are chosen and they present and participate on a meeting which is called the pre-session with the Committee of Expertise on the Rights and Welfare of a Child. And this meeting, which is called the pre-session, was held in 2017 and currently it was held in 2023, where the report that we children of Malawi we write, it was submitted and it was later on discussed. So as you already know that the results of the report that we children write are recommendations. So again, we children of Malawi, we are again privileged that we do follow up with duty bearers on the recommendations that we get from the Committee of Expertise. So our aim when we are doing the recommendation, the first aim that we follow up with duty bearers at all levels. You know, we have to start things from the ground. So we follow up starting from the community level, then to the district level, and again at the national level. So at community level, we follow up with traditional leaders, faith-based leaders, teachers, and even parents. We follow up with them on how they're dealing with issues to do with child abuses, such as child marriages. So when we are doing our follow-up, we use different and various platforms at community level.
Oh, did we lose Faith? Faith, can you hear us? Oh, seems like we lost her. Hopefully she can reconnect. Okay, yeah, sorry, we had apparently Faith drop off. We are also very short on time, and we wanted to do some more polls. I think in the interest of time, we will skip the poll, but maybe go to questions. I see a lot of hands as well, so there's also things in the Q&A box, but let's go to hands, and we are going to prefer children that are raising their hand. So there's a platform from Madagascar. If there are children there, can you unmute and pose your question? Will that be in French? And we might need Antoine or the interpreter as well to help us. Can we unmute Platform Madagascar?
You should have the ability to unmute, but perhaps in the meantime we can move to Emmanuel.
Yes. Oh, I think Platform Madagascar is, yeah. Please go ahead. We can't hear you. To speak up. It is unfortunately very, very low. I can't hear you.
I can barely hear him.
I'm sorry, we can't hear you, and the interpreters also cannot hear you. Maybe you could pose your questions in the Q&A box instead. Sorry, we have to move to maybe Emmanuel instead. Manuel?
Sorry, it was network. Can I come again?
Yes, go ahead, Faith, to continue. So we'll wait with the questions.
Thank you. Actually, thank you again. So at district level, we mostly use children's parliament, where we hold duty bearers accountable, starting with the community duty bearers, district duty bearers, and even national duty bearers. During this platform, we hold them accountable and we discuss with them on how they're addressing the issues that children are facing back at our different homes. And it
Faith, you're breaking up a little bit again.
Duty bearers in
Go ahead, I hear you again.
Network source. Okay. So at national level again, we engage different duty bearers during different and various platforms. Some of the platforms are the National Children's Parliament. We have National Children's Summit on Climate Change. We also have different platforms, I should say, but just to mention a few. So our aim in doing all this is to see a change, because as children, we do things for a change. So during our different meetings, platforms that we have been holding duty bearers accountable, we are very much proud that we have managed to come up with positive results from the meetings that we have been having with them. We are very proud that we have actually come up with positive results when we were following up on the implementation of the different recommendations. So the first positive result that we managed to have is that the laws here in Malawi have been improved. For example, the definition of the age of a child in the Constitution and also the penal code, which says that a child is a person below the age of 18. And with this, we are able to fight against issues to do with child marriages and child deferment, which is actually a good thing for us here in Malawi. And secondly, we are also very much proud because there is an inclusion with children with disabilities. Actually, they're now able to speak out for themselves, which is such a good thing that we hear from them. So it's another positive result. And thirdly, we are also having there's an involvement of us children in matters that affect them. Like we are having a space like Children's Parliament, we have children advisory groups here in Malawi, and children are also being supported in the innovations that they are coming up, like on climate change. Children are able to be supported, like on climate change, children innovations, like they open up their own clubs and then they are supported by the government, by NGOs, which is actually a good thing. And all these things are happening because as children, we took a step of following up. So we could see that following up is actually a good thing because we are able to see different outcomes, positive outcomes.
Thank you, Faith. I probably have to cut you off there. Thank you so much for your presentation. We can share also in writing your full presentation if you would like, if you haven't shared all of it. But thank you so much, and it's so great to hear all the work that you're doing and actually making changes, and you can see actual changes for children, which is of course what you want to see and what we want to support you to see as well. So thank you so much for that. We have very few minutes left. We're very much behind. I would like to take a few questions if okay, and then we still want to hear from Mark-Eliel. So if you can stay on for maybe 5, 10 more minutes, that would be great. I think maybe we can hear from Emmanuel. Please unmute and put forward your question. No, we don't hear you. Maybe
Ouais.
Joseph, yeah, come on, please.
Bonjour. Attends. Et pourtant, j'ai activé le micro.
I can hear some French spoken.
Yes. Can we have a translation?
Mais j'ai tout fait.
Yes,
If you heard.
I can barely hear him.
Bonjour.
Good morning. I'm 17.
J'aimerais mieux vous poser certaines questions et quelque chose à vous dire. Parce que, on se
I have
sent un
something
peu
that I want to share with you.
depuis que nous sommes dans la salle, en train de faire la réunion, il y a certaines affiches de métier, c'est en anglais, alors que nous, c'est le français. Et est-ce qu'il s'est obligé
It's really difficult to hear him.
I'm sorry, Joseph. We cannot hear you. I'm really sorry, but the translator is not able to hear you. So we probably have to move on. Can you put your question in the chat box or comment as well? We would love to hear your comment, but we can't hear you.
Je dis ceci. Bonjour, je m'appelle Luamba Mavina Cresta.
Good morning.
Je suis de Congo-Brazzaville. J'ai deux petites questions à vous poser. À propos, nous, on a un peu du mal, on se sent un peu insensé parce qu'il y a les images de
Can you
beauté,
hear the
les mots ne sont
translation? I
pas en
don't.
français, c'est
Yeah,
en
I'm trying
anglais.
to figure out what he's saying and then I can repeat it to you.
Et c'est pour ça que j'aimerais aussi vous
He's
poser
saying
la
that he has a difficulty with the way it's presented because they see pictures
Nous, on n'a pas assez
on the screen and they could see text on the presentation. It was all in English and they could not understand everything that was in English.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was
Thank you for
difficult
the
to
feedback.
follow the presentation. Sorry.
Okay. Well, if you have another comment, also put it in the chat box. We know it's difficult with the languages. That's why we have interpretation. But of course, the slides, it's difficult to translate it all. I see other questions. I don't know, Emmanuel, can you unmute? And no. Oh, or not. Then we have a Doroka. Do you have a question?
My name is Kafuma Imran.
Hi. Go ahead with your question.
A 13-year-old boy Uganda by birth from Unbound Kampala.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, are you putting forward a question? I can't hear and understand it well.
Are you getting me?
Yes, hear you.
Okay.
My name is Kakuma Imran, a third
I only heard your name, sorry.
year-old boy Ugandan by birth from Unbound. Hello. In Uganda,
We have some connectivity issues. I'm sorry. Try again.
Are you getting me?
Yes, before it goes on and off. Try again. We don't hear you. Yeah, I don't know if we probably cannot hear you. We have another. I think this is the last we're going to try before we also have to close the session. I can't pronounce the name, but there's a baby face as the last name. I can't pronounce. Go ahead, pose your question.
Thank you very much. Oui, c'est Babyface. It's Babyface. Thank you very much. Oui, je voulais parler du
Yes,
Burundi
it's
un peu.
Babyface. Thank you very much. I'd like to talk to you about Burundi. I'm the
Du Burundi
secretary
Child Rights Forum.
of the Burundi Child Forum.
Tout juste, c'est ça un petit commentaire par
So I
rapport
just have a small
à
comment
l'effectivité,
on
donc
the efficiency
l'application.
in the
Donc, les
implementation,
attentes sur
the expectations
comment est-ce qu'on peut
on
atteindre
how
le Burundi
we
peut-être
can
au même niveau avec
raise
d'autres pays
Burundi
parce
to
que
the
nous sommes
same
un peu
level
en arrière.
as other
Nous
countries.
fournissons nos efforts. Nous n'avons pas bien sûr le Parlement d'enfants, mais
We
nous
don't have child
intervenons dans nos
parliament in
organisations à
Burundi,
travers les différents clubs.
but we are very
Par
active in
exemple,
our
les
various
clubs
organizations,
Hack for All, ça nous aide
like the club
à
Haki
intervenir
for
dans les
All,
différentes écoles, les différentes provinces,
help us to be
mais
active
il nous
in
manque
schools, in
le mesure
communities,
d'accompagnement.
but
C'est-à-dire
we
que
are
s'il y a
lacking
moyen que
the
le
follow-up
Burundi soit accompagné afin que
help,
nos enfants
assistance.
eux aussi soient en
It would be
mesure
great for Burundi to
de
be
produire
able
des
to enjoy
rapports
that
par rapport
support
à
so
d'autres
that
pays comme la
children can
Mozambique, la
produce
Tanzanie,
reports just
et
like
l'Ouganda, le
Tanzania,
Rwanda. C'est dans cette
Uganda,
façon, de
Rwanda
cette manière
shared
que
would
je
be a great
veux
way for
intervenir
us.
parce que nous
And
avons les différents clubs, nous avons
that's the comment I wanted to share because we have various things going on, various
et nous
activities.
avons même les
We have
émissions à travers les
activities.
différents médias, les
We even
radios,
have programs that are
intitulées La Voix des
broadcasted
enfants,
on
mais
radio.
il
It's
nous
called The
manque de
Voices of Children,
l'accompagnement. Nous
but we
demandons
need more
que
support,
vraiment
more
que
follow-up
Right.
support.
qu'on puisse nous
So
Okay,
we're
well, thank you, Babyface. I mean, it's a great comment, and that's really why also we're here. We want to inspire much more to happen. Of course, we know that you need support, and it's about civil society supporting children. So it's about finding those ways. You talked about a child rights forum, I think, in Burundi, and I think we want to encourage as much joining up of organizations that work together to support children on this. And the more you can incentivize, like children's councils or child parliaments, where there are spaces for children to participate and engage with decision makers, the more we can try and incentivize that, those are the opportunities where you can also try and influence the follow-up. Thank you so much. Sorry, we are over time. There are questions in the Q&A, and I've seen a lot of responses also in writing, and we will follow up. You can also actually send us when you receive the invite. You can send us back more questions, and we will share them with children, and then they can share back more responses, especially also to the ones that we couldn't hear that were online. So send us more questions, and we will share them with the children that has presented, so that we can share even more responses from them afterwards in writing. But yes, thank you so much for engaging. I think we will probably have to end the session here, and hopefully we have Magiliel with us to close us off. Are you here, Magiliel? Yeah, here we are. Go ahead. and share your closing remarks.
Oui, je suis là. Ok.
Yes, I am
Bonjour à
here.
tous et à toutes.
Good morning to all of you.
Je suis Makile Deni, délégué
My name is
national de
Michael
l'Association des
Deni.
enfants et jeunes travailleurs de Côte
I'm
d'Ivoire
from the association,
et
National
coordonnateur de la
Association from Côte
plateforme des
d'Ivoire.
organisations et associations d'enfants de Côte d'Ivoire.
And so I'm in charge of
J'ai
various
17 ans
platforms for
et je me suis
the
engagé
children.
dans le processus de
I'm
suivi
17
des
and I started
mécanismes et des
getting
recommandations
involved in the
depuis
follow-up
2021 et cela
process
suite
since
à la présentation du
2021
rapport complémentaire version
after the
enfant en lien
supplemental
avec la
report
Charte africaine
presentation.
des droits et du bien-être de l'enfant.
I'm also in
Il faut
connection
dire que
with the
m'engager dans le
rights and
processus de
welfare
suivi des mécanismes et
of
des
children
recommandations m'a
organizations.
permis d'apprendre beaucoup de choses en matière de droit et aussi
I was
d'acquérir plusieurs
able
connaissances
to learn way
sur
more,
les
to
droits,
acquire a
le
lot of
suivi
skills
et
and
comment
knowledge
il faut faire le suivi.
in the advocacy work,
Aujourd'hui, cela est pour
in the
moi un
follow-up,
honneur
and on how to
de
do all that.
clôturer cet événement car j'ai eu à prendre part à la première session
So I was
qui
able
s'est
to
déroulée le
participate in
5
the
juin
first
où j'ai
session
pu
that
partager mes
happened
expériences
on June
avec d'autres
5,
amis qui étaient en
and I was
ligne
able to
sur
share
la question du
my
suivi
experience
des
with other
mécanismes.
peers on the
Et je
topic
saisis
of the
cette
follow-up
opportunité pour
of
partager
activities.
des conseils
And so I wanted
pratiques
to
avec
share
vous
some practical
afin de
tips with you
pouvoir
so that you
arriver à un
can
très bon suivi des
get a
mécanismes
great
et des
mechanism of follow-up
recommandations
and
de vos
follow-up
pays
of mechanism as
et
well,
de faire des droits de l'enfant une réalité.
and to make
Le
the
premier conseil
children's
que je
right
peux
a
partager
reality.
avec vous,
The
c'est
first tip I'd
que
like to share
vous devriez partager vos
is that
connaissances en
you
matière de
must
droits de
share
l'enfant
your
avec
knowledge
les autres amis
on
pour que vous tous vous soyez au
child's
même niveau.
rights with your
Le
peers and your
deuxième est de
friends so that you all
rejoindre un club
are
de droits de
sharing the same
l'enfant s'il
base.
en existe bien sûr dans vos communautés
In your
afin
communities, it's
d'apprendre
important
plus sur
to
la question
organize
des droits de
activities
l'enfant.
and gather more children to
Troisième
learn
point,
more
il
about
faudrait lire
human
les
rights.
outils qui ont été partagés avec les différents pays pour
It's
pouvoir
important to share
améliorer ses
the
connaissances,
tools
pour
that
savoir
were
quels
created
il faudrait
with in
utiliser
other
pour
countries
arriver
to
à un
share that
meilleur suivi.
knowledge more
En quatrième lieu,
and more
contactez
widely.
les coalitions de vos
It's
pays
important to
pour
contact the
qu'ils puissent vous
coalitions
intégrer dans ces
and support
processus
systems so that you can
de
be included
rédaction et
in that
de
process of
présentation et même de
developing and
suivi de
presenting
ces
and following up
recommandations.
the
Cinquième
recommendations.
point, il faudrait parler aux
Number
adultes
5, it's
des
important
possibilités pour
to
les
talk
enfants
with
de
adults
participer aux prises de décision.
to have
Car
more opportunity to
si
take
les
part
adultes
in
ont
the
une
decision
notion
making.
de l'importance de la participation des
It's
enfants,
important
ils
for children
vont
to be part of
bien
all this.
vous intégrer, bien
And
intégrer vos avis
we
dans
need
tout
the
ce qui est
children to be
participation.
integrated and
Et le
assimilated
dernier
in that
point que je peux
decision making
partager, la dernière
process.
astuce que je peux partager
And
avec vous,
lastly,
c'est que s'il n'existe pas d'espace de
if there's no
participation pour les
space
enfants
or
dans
participation
votre
for
pays,
children
il
in
faudrait
your
mener des
country,
actions de plaidoyer pour amener les
maybe you should
autorités
organize
locaux à créer
advocacy
ces
actions
espaces-là de telle sorte à
so
ce que
that your
nous, en tant
governments
qu'enseignants,
and your
puissions
local
discuter de nos différentes
government official
difficultés
can
et
start thinking
discuter
about creating
de
those
comment on
spaces
pourrait arriver à un meilleur suivi de.
so that we can have a better follow-up
Aujourd'hui, nous
of
nous
all
sommes
that.
concentrés
Today, we
de
focused
savoir comment faire le suivi des mécanismes
on
et
how
des
to do the
recommandations,
follow-up of
de
mechanism
reportage et aussi
and of
d'apprentissage.
recommendations
Mais
and reports and all
c'est la
that.
deuxième session des trois sessions sur ce
But
thème-là.
it's the second
Et
session
nous vous
out of
invitons
3 sessions
donc
on
à
this
prendre part
topic.
à
And
la
so we want you
dernière
all
session qui se
to be
déroulera
part
dans le
of the
mois
third
d'octobre
session that will happen in October.
et qui portera sur comment les
And that will
organisations qui travaillent avec les enfants peuvent
talk
les
about
aider à
the
assurer
organizations that work with
un meilleur
children
suivi des
and how they
rapports
can
et la
help them
discuter
having a
des
more
difficultés
efficient follow-up
qu'ils rencontrent. Nous
and
espérons
help
que
them
vous
with
serez
facing the issues
nombreux
that
à vous
they know.
joindre à
So
cette
we hope
dernière
we'll be,
session. Nous vous
many of you
remercions
will be
pour
with
votre
us for the
attention
next
et
session.
merci à
Thank you so much for your attention and thank you for listening to me.
Thank you so much, Makiliel. And yeah, what a great way to close us off with tips for children on what to do. We heard from 5
Merci
children
à
from
vous
across
aussi.
various countries, and we
Thank you
just
so much to all of you.
really want to inspire more children to get engaged and support you from different organizations and child rights coalitions that you have in your own countries. That's what we really want to incentivize. Yeah. But before we just end, we wanted to do a quick poll. Anna?